Hi guys, I'm Larry David. I'm joined here today by Radical, a special guest commentator. We're casting ddDOTA versus Western Wolves for the defense. This is a best out of one. The banning and picking phase has just started here. ddDOTA on the Radiant, Western Wolves on the die. Radical, how you doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good, LD. So they've already got 2 bans done. Anything you want to say about them?
I was hoping for some insight from you, but sure. I mean,
Well,
Chen, pretty typical ban. A really strong pushing hero, can send your allies back to base if you get low. You got those crazy good heals. You've been seeing him picked up a lot lately. Invoker, jack of all trades. Pretty beastly hero, especially with that Sunstrike maxed first, although I don't think these teams would opt to go that route anyway.
so ddDOTA is used to be SK, weren't they?
Yeah, ddDOTA, formerly known as SK, I believe the way the story is being spun right now, both sides decided to part ways. I'm guessing that's not really what happened, and probably one side or another was responsible for the rift. But either way, they are no longer together.
There's been a little turbulence amongst the pro teams recently. I wonder if this change in Dota 2 had anything to do with that. I guess it's only a speculation, though. Anyways, they banned Night Stalker and WW Respawn with Anti-Mage. Again, just 2 characters a lot of people don't want to deal with. Very good at taking over games. Furion too, but he's past the banning pit pool. I guess WW wasn't feeling too afraid of him.
So Furion is the first pick. I mean, we've been seeing him make it through this banning stage a lot. Before Invoker was released, or even, I want to say the metagame is just shifting so rapidly that, what was a auto ban status last week is not banned at all. Of course, Shadow Shaman is still in the pool. One of the other sort of AAA class pushing heroes and just generally obnoxious to deal with. Right now, it's all about getting those early towers and controlling the map as a result very quickly. And Shadow Shaman, another great way to do that. So we'll see how ddDOTA responds. I'm actually going to bring up my list of heroes so I can see who's still left in the pool.
I do feel like a lot of teams aren't as scared as Furion if they feel like they can graft enough pushing heroes, they can keep the lanes back. Part of what makes Furion really good is that his ult can really keep the lanes pushed, and once one of the creep wave gets up to the tower, you can instantly port in and start pushing it before your team has a chance to respond. If you can actually get heroes like Shadow Shaman that push decently well, and Furion can't really take advantage of that, when you can actually force some team fights, Furion's not the best team fighter until he has a chance to get a lot of items up.
Yeah, Furion really benefits from that mobility, always being the +1, so a great point there. He certainly can be countered like any hero in Dota. He's just one of the harder heroes to counter, which is why we see him banned quite often, although not so much recently. Windrunner is the pick for Western Wolves. I really like that choice. Windrunner just such a versatile hero. I mean, we saw it last game. I don't know if you happened to catch that cast, but next KZ, just Windrunner winning them every team fight with a Shackle Shot into the Earthshaker, Fissure, or Blink ultimate. Ursa coming in on cleanup duty. Mirana and Sandking are the replies for ddDOTA. So ddDOTA kind of picking some versatile heroes as well. Sandkin can solo, although I don't know how we've seen him solo mid against Shadow Shaman before. It's not normally a good matchup, but he can certainly survive. All these heroes can really go to any lane for ddDOTA right now, so they're not tipping their hand as far as what their lanes will be. You can put the SK and the Mirana in a dual lane. It actually is a classic Dota 1 dual lane. Not so popular nowadays. Earthshaker, Mirana, another example of that. You have the setup followed by the Mirana arrow, and then if those both hit, it's pretty much a guaranteed kill.
Alright, so they've taken Broodmother here. I'm wondering who they're gonna... I guess they want a jungler here?
Well, why do you say that for anyone who's a little newer to the competitive scene?
I know Broodmother definitely likes to have a solo lane. Like, his webs make him a very good solo. And his side pushing ability, generally he wants a lane where he can be left alone and start like pushing down towers when the enemy team gets distracted.
Right. So if you have him on soloing on the side lane, you're gonna obviously someone's gonna solo mid for that quick level 6, probably the Shadow Shaman. Although Windrunner can do it, that's 2 solo lanes. There's only 3 lanes, so in order to get 2 solo lanes, you have to put someone into the jungle role. Enigma is still available. He's probably the best remaining jungler. Tidehunter is banned out as well. Not wanting to let... And I think that's a good ban there, because Tidehunter just They need a support. He gives them great team fight. He doesn't require a lot of farm to be effective. The one thing that surprises me for the Dire right now in this draft is that they actually picked into Broodmother when Sand King was already picked up. So clearly they're confident either that they can get the Broodmother not laning versus the Sand King, or they're just, or they're fine with that matchup and they think they can win it. Now some people think Sand King just completely crushes Broodmother. I don't really think that's the case. Sand King can counter the hero, but especially since the 6.73 buffs aren't in the tournament version yet. Sand King's Caustic Finale only has 2 seconds from the time of the auto attack to actually process. If the creep doesn't die, there's no sort of AoE damage from that creep's death. Slaughter obviously a good ban just in general, and especially when you want to deny that counter to the Broodmother.
One thing I'm seeing here, they took out Enchantress, I guess because they didn't want to do it with the jungle ganks, but they've left Enigma on the table. I guess they are okay with them still getting a jungle? Maybe they do want them to pick into Enigma. Oh, they're going to take Enigma themselves. I didn't expect that.
So Pudge was banned as well. A little bit of a respect ban. I think it's Miguel who normally runs that. Pudge, honestly, I would not pick into Pudge versus Broodmother. The Spiderlings are just such a... I found this out the hard way myself, having missed some rather easy hooks because Spiderlings were there. But Pudge is really not too good against Broodmother. There's just so much stuff in the way. The Broodmother is just so hard to track down anyway.
Alright, so they took Crystal Maiden there. I'm wondering if we're going to see a tri-lane here, or they're going to put someone up top with the Brood, not wanting to leave him to the Sand King.
I think we'll see the Crystal Maiden roaming. Because all 3 of these heroes on the Dire can solo. Windrunner can take the long lane, Shadow Shaman can take the middle lane, Broodmother can take the other side lane, and then send her Spiderlings into the jungle. And this is a really nice trick for anyone who's newer to Dota, or if you want to try out something that the pros do in a pub, and I guarantee you nobody's going to counter this, at least in the vast majority of pub games. You can actually have a support babysit you, do some ganking for your lane, but then you can also send this Crystal Maiden into the jungle with the Broodmother Spiderlings. You have Broodmother Spiderlings tanking them up, and Crystal Maiden can get some levels and some farm, which is really important. So that's a good way to sort of have that support, but not have it soaking up EXP in the lane. And Lich is the pick, so a huge amount of teamfight coming out for DD. I mean, Prophet's ultimate, pretty good teamfight skill. Sand King, Enigma, Lich, Wombo combo teamfight ultimates. Mirana, a little bit of ganking, long lane solo if that's where they want to put her. They don't have that much late game, but Mirana's decent, so we'll have to see how Western Wolves goes with this last pick.
I'm wondering who they're going to put with the Lich, actually. I feel like Podon, you can babysit Podon, but she's also a really good solo laner. They do have 2 junglers, so they might put one of those 2 in lane, have the other one jungling as the... and then babysit the Podom or the Sand King and have the other one take the solo mid, maybe? Or put the you can put the Enigma or the Fury on mid and have Sand King or Podom go up against the Broodmother. And put Lich with the other one.
Yeah, so Dragonite is going to be the final pick. And as far as laning the Lich, it is pretty flexible. So we'll see how they opt to go for it. I feel like this Furion is going to jungle. Although that's not... Actually, Enigma's probably going to be in the jungle. I think we might see Enigma jungle, Furion mid, Podom possibly soloing the short lane, and maybe we'll see the Lich and the Sand King in the long lane. We'll have to see how they do it. They have flexibility, but I really think we're going to see Furion in a solo position here.
If you can get Lich in the short lane along with the Enigma, they can double deny that lane. But Enigma can also be a strong laner because he has his own deny, so you can have 2 different lanes being denied at once.
Yeah, the concern here, Dragon Knight definitely a better late game carry than the Priestess or the Mirana, assuming equal farm. And then you've got the Broodmother as well. And hey, Windrunner's not too bad herself as the late game approaches, so that's going to be a concern for DD because you can't let that DK get free farmed. So you really have to be aggressive on that lane. You have the Prophet is giving you one option to do it. You have the Denies is another way to try and slow him down.
It looks like they're remaking.
So looks like there's going to be a remake, presumably an AP remake, probably server issues. So we'll hop right into that game. Just hang tight here for 1 second and we'll get started. And I think my XSplit is dying. Okay, let me get the info for you in 1 sec.
Alright, thank you. Like we were saying though, the both teams actually have a lot of potential there. What they had picked for like different kinds of lanes. Like I mean, I could see them definitely soloing the Broodmother, but they could also have the CM or the Windrunner up there pulling for her and just coming in for ganks, or they can just give the Broodmother complete like just leave her alone completely and try lane the bottom with DK. Or I mean, then they could put Windrunner mid. I don't think they're going to do that though. It depends on the team. I know there is one team that really likes solo midding Windrunner, but I cannot remember which team that is. The Shadow Shaman's also a good mid, but some people also like to run him as support. I know you're not a very big fan of that, though.
Just getting your name added in here to the overlay while we wait, as Toby has yet to join a game, so I can't backdoor my way in there just yet. Yeah, I mean, I think that's a good strategy. Okay, it looks like he just joined it. I think that's a really good strategy when you're drafting. If you ever find yourself in an in-house maybe, or somewhere more casual, and you are doing a CM, which I recommend everyone try it at least a little bit. It can be fun just to sort of, you know, hey, you get to feel like a pro for a day, but more importantly, you just get to sort of go through that process and see how it works. Leaving yourself flexibility and not picking up, for example, if you pick up a hero that has to be tri-laned, like let's say a Phantom Assassin, probably not going to be successful outside of that. Yeah, you wouldn't see it in a pro game, but certainly in a pub you could see that happening, or in a lower level game. If you pick up a hero like that right away, then it pretty much locks in your lanes, and it really limits what you can do. Or if you pick someone who has to jungle, would be another example. So it's good to pick up heroes that have flexibility and not really show your hands during the draft. And then if you can end the draft and your lanes are still not obvious, that's even better. Because, you know, for example, in this game, we're going to see who the team that has the Sand King, I believe that's dd.
Yeah, dd has the Sand King.
Really wants to get the Sand King matched up against the Broodmother. At least that's how I would expect them to want to lane it. Looks like a game should be loading here, so I'm going to turn off the music, pop back into the game, and I'm getting some complaints about the... Okay, let me try moving that down a little bit. You guys, let me know if the scoreboard is in the way. I'll adjust it, otherwise I think it looks good. So this is an AP remake of dd versus Western Wolves.
Like you were saying about lane flexibility before, they just add onto that. I think one of the big things is if the enemy team plays into their like a tri-lane or something too early, what can happen is the enemy team can pick up another hero that's going to, they can take advantage of the free farm in the other lane. It's going to be a solo. I mean, we've seen this in like pub games we played together, and this can even happen in a like a draft game where you'll have the enemy team will have another carry that they can put in their short lane, and then the enemy team's going to put their tri-lane in their short lane. But what happens is if you put like a strong like a solo or duo versus their tri-lane that you pick up a little later after they've kind of played their hand, then you can kind of like their tri-lane doesn't have as much of an advantage, while the person in your short lane is essentially getting free farm. And I mean, the enemy team can really end up behind because of that.
Yeah, and if they don't have the right heroes to adjust, then they can be in a lot of trouble. So that being said, let's introduce the players. I'll go for the Dire, you can go for the Radiant. So we have Fucking Mad, also known as 7CKNG Mad for the PG version on the Broodmother. Funzy, going to be playing that Windrunner. Saksha on the Dragon Knight. Donnie on the Crystal Maiden. Phoenix on the Shadow Shaman.
Alright, on the Radiant we have Link playing Priestess of the Moon, also known as Mirana. We have Miguel playing Furion, also known as Nature's Prophet. Rise playing Lich. And Angel playing Enigma. And Mania playing Sand King. Radiant team is DD, and just to mention again, they used to be known as SK. They have since gone, I guess, independent now.
Yeah, they have chosen to part ways. We talked about it a little bit in the last game. I'm not really sure why that happened, but in any case, DD is currently not sponsored as far as I know. I believe it stands for Danish...
Ding Dong.
Well, I think Ding Dong is a joke. I think it stands for like Danish domination or something along those lines. Perhaps a bit, I think it's a rugby reference. Not too sure. Either way,
some action going on in the top river.
Top, just to deny the Priestess of the Moon a little bit. I'm curious, did they go for the double deny strategy mid? Because that could really hurt this duel lane. No, they didn't. So, in the duel... Oh, before I forget, just a note, Radical. If we do see a Roshan, I really want to remember to write down the time so that we know when he's going to respawn. So if that
I
happens,
just want
try to
to
remember.
mention something interesting. Mirana's actually started with a Wraith band and tangos.
Yeah, this is normally not a recommended build. In fact, I personally have flamed people in the past for doing it, as I don't think it's a good way to spend your gold. However, I really can't argue with Link doing it, so maybe he knows something I don't, and I guess I'm going to have to be slower to flame in the future.
I feel like he's going to build, or no, I was thinking they were on 6.73 and he might be going for a Ring of Aquila, but obviously they're playing on the tournament edition.
Yeah, there is no Ring of Aquila. You can see I clicked on the right band. There's no further upgrade paths. So I think that answers the question for the Caustic Finale. It's only got the 2 duration right now if you look at the screen, so in the tournament version that has not been updated yet. A lot of action mid, well, just profit pushing, actually. So despite those denies, somehow Miguel ends up at the enemy tower quite early. So just go over our lanes real quick.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Mania versus the Windrunner, not the lane they were looking for. They really wanted to get a matchup against the Broodmother.
I don't think Broodmother usually wants to go to the like the long lane, though. I feel like people send her to the short lane more often than not. So I'm not really sure about this decision.
Yeah, they also. Another thought here is they may have been concerned about Sand King getting killed. He does have the Burrow Strike and the Sandstorm, but Leap is generally a better way to escape. If they buy Sentry Wards, your escape mechanism is really shut down. So,
it is interesting. He's taken Caustic Finale in like versus a Windrunner, which is kind of interesting. I wonder if the solo or the Furion mid is going to play into that any, because Sand King's already pushing very hard against this Windrunner. Maybe they're looking for some early towers.
You're not going to have much luck pushing a Windrunner this early, in my opinion. He has gone for Caustic Finale at level 2, I believe, instead of that Sandstorm. So not worried about getting ganked, which, just from the way the players are positioned on the map, is going to be a smart decision. They know the Shadow Shaman is, he's not going to be roaming this early, so he's got to be top, and now he's shown himself anyway. Doing a little
Shadow Shaman, grabbing the Mirana. Shadow Shaman did actually end up playing that support role, and they decided to solo the Windrunner instead.
This is not a true hard support, though, and the reason I'll say that is because he's definitely in a support role. He's not getting a solo lane, but he's got the Broodmother, and I guarantee you once Broodmother hits maybe level 5 or so, and I'm a little surprised they're not already doing it, we're going to see the Spiderlings go into the jungle and tank up the creeps, allow that Shadow Shaman to get some free EXP from the neutrals. For right now, they're just doing a little bit of pulling and stacking.
I think Windrunner actually grabbed 2 of those Ogre minions on the bottom camp when Enigma was trying to kill them. Nice on him.
So the downside, middle lane, let's check the creep scores, but it should be fairly even. Maybe it's actually not having a good time at all here. So the double range combination plus the Lich Deny is really hurting that Dragon Knight's ability to farm. He isn't going to die though, and really he just wants that EXP early on, a little bit more so than the farm. You want to get that level 6 so you can push, but max out that Fire Breath, and then you'll have a much easier time farming. So I don't think this is the end of the world for Western Wolves, especially if Shadow Shaman is getting some good EXP in the jungle. And he is jungling with the Spiderlings now, so very smart play by them. But it is a concern at the same time.
It is interesting how Sand King's actually farming incredibly well in the bottom lane. So is Windrunner, but I mean, I wasn't expecting anything different from a Windrunner versus a Sand King. The fact that Sand King has almost as many creeps as the Furion being babysat mid, he's definitely having a good time down there.
Yeah, in terms of skill build, Miguel is maxing the trance first. I'm a little surprised to see this. I would have thought he would have maxed the teleportation skill. I don't know how effective the trance are going to be versus the Dragon Knight. Is there action that I'm missing?
Yeah, I feel like they do want to push the mid down, or maybe push the bottom down.
Yeah, that's a bit of a tell that they're looking to push earlier. Or maybe he's going to transition into the jungle, and he's preparing for that, going to leave Lich mid for a bit to get some EXP. Lich is actually he'll have a pretty easy time just sitting mid against the Dragon Knight CM. Just because he can stay really far back, just has to deny the creeps, and he'll get that quick level 6 up. But for now, they're dual laning it, so we'll have to see.
They could also go into the enemy jungle, but right now they have a bit of a tri-lane going on top, so that would be a bit risky.
Looks like Angel wants to set something at bottom. He's coming in here, maybe looking to gank this Windrunner off, but Windrunner did see him coming, I believe, with this ward in the jungle. So
they've actually got 2 wards in the jungle.
Fine. Yeah, this ward, I think he was going for the Magic Bush ward. I'm not sure, or if maybe they just want to see the Enigma's movement, but actually not going to block either of these camps. In my opinion, a bit of a blunder. I know you can at least position this ward closer to that pole camp so that it at least blocks the pole camp off. Maybe concerned about counter wards. Angel going to smoke himself under a dire ward. Let's see if Windrunner was watching the map. It doesn't. Well, she's sitting pretty far back. Burst Strike going to come in. The Epicenter gets channeled.
This could be bad.
This is going to be a first blood. Windrunner goes down. Miguel comes in for insurance. And now with the level 2 Treants, the tower.
They're going to do a lot of damage to it. That was actually a really impressive combo. I don't know if Windrunner was looking at the map or just didn't like expect the the Burrow Strike to come out, followed by the stun. If Huron came in, he didn't have to do anything though. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe just wasn't expecting them to be able to drop the ult and all those stuns on him so quickly.
That tower dropped really quickly, and it looks like Western Wolves is going for the trade, but ddDOTA is already on to the second tier here. They're going to have to send someone to defend this.
The power of Enigma and Furion right here. I mean, this is a disgusting amount of push.
Yeah, and later on in the game, if you have any sort of, they do have a decent amount of AoE type nukes, so they will be able to kill these minions off later on. But for now, they just don't have the damage they need, and this tower is going to drop too. Western Wolves does clean up that first tier tower. They really need to get all hands on deck. It's losing a tier 2 tower this early as the Dire is really bad, especially because once those mid towers start going down, they're not going to have good access to Roshan.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty big loss for them right there. They're gonna, if they want to go to Roshan, they have to go to the mid tier 2 for a while. So I mean, assuming they get the mid tier 1.
Yeah, and you know, if you take a look at the gold graph, as you would expect, it's strongly in favor of ddDOTA now. This is the early start they needed. I mean, they've got the worst late game, so they've got to make more of their early game advantage, and right now they're doing it. Crystal Maiden already picked up some dust, perhaps looking to get a kill on the Sand King. It's a little early to pick that up, especially when she was laning all the way in mid. With no boots yet, not sure what she's going to be able to do. She does have a TP scroll. Still quite under-leveled, though. Oh, action top. A huge dive on Funzy. The black hole drop just for him. This early on, I think that's a great kill. Definitely worth it. You're probably not going to get a 5-on-5 engagement, so better to secure a kill if you can.
They've really shut down this Windrunner. 2 kill. He's not. Let's take a look at his gold. He's got the Basilius and the boots up, but...
Level 3 Crystal Maiden struts in, wanting to set up a kill on Mania, but not going to be able to do anything right now. If she pops out, she will die, so expect her just to stay put. Maybe track his movements for a little bit.
People in the spectator chat are asking about why Dire chose not to defend top. They originally went for the trade, and after they first they both got 2 tower, like each got a tower on both sides. They couldn't really go back to defend because a lot of people didn't have TPs. They're under-leveled compared to the Radiant side, and obviously the Radiant has a lot of team potential right there with Furion, SK, and Enigma early on. They really couldn't defend.
Looks like Sand King is opting for a Vanguard after his Arcane Boots, so he does have the Enigma as well as the Mirana ultimate to help set him up. Doesn't necessarily need to rush a Blink Dagger.
Furion went for a Midas, apparently. I did not see that.
So, you know, you have a couple options. When you have that early game lineup, you can either look to just win early, in which case you go all in, you buy as many items that are useful now in order to try and push your advantage, get the ranks down by, say, 25, 30 minutes. Or you can use that advantage to just get really far ahead with items and compensate for your heroes being a little worse late game with those items. It looks like they're kind of going that route.
Oh, Sand King may be about to get a bunch of... Oh, yeah. Oh, that's a lot of money.
Oh, Sand King killed a lot of Bridlings. Sorry I missed that, but did see all the corpses. So, meanwhile, Furion just having a grand old time mid with this Midas. Kind of surprised he's not popping it. One reason to hold on to it is that you get extra EXP for whatever creep you use it on. So you can use it on
there.
Yeah, he did just use it. So you can use it on these big jungle creeps, such as the Centaur. Although no Centaur in this camp.
It looks like CM and Rasta are massing mid, but they don't have the Rasta wards up. He's not level 6 yet. CM's on level 3. I don't know what they're hoping to do here.
It's good counter warding by Donnie, trying to prevent the Radiant from having that vision. They might have noticed they had the vision from the Furion ultimate. That's one good way to tell if there are wards in a certain place on the map when you're playing versus Furion. If the ult bounces to you and you don't see any enemy heroes nearby, and they don't normally have vision of that area, there's got to be a ward around. So that's perhaps using that to de-ward or just using their Spidey senses. Either way, Dragonite picking up a really late bottle. I don't know about this choice. I think I would have preferred a Soul Ring. It's only a little bit more expensive. It gives him a little more guaranteed regen, and he doesn't have to worry about picking up runes.
Lich is about to get level 6 too. Everyone on the Radiant team just has so much more experience, and the tower advantage. They're really looking good right here.
Yeah, if you look at the Crystal Maiden, only level 4 right now. I don't think she even has her boots yet. Yeah, still working on those boots, just on permanent hardcore support duty. which is going to be quite a problem. I mean, look at that Prophet ultimate. Chews up almost half of her health instantaneously.
Yeah, definitely the question here is going to be how long this game goes, because, I mean, if they can get some towers with the Rasta, I mean, they might be able to pull this back until DK can get fed.
Phoenix in a lot of trouble, does not have the wards. He's done for sure. Let's see if they continue the chase. They do not. So, Angel opting for going for the mechanism early, so I like that choice. You know, the mechanism giving you more push power, more survivability between the armor and the heal. Yeah, you can get a Blink Dagger, but do you really need it now? There's not that many team fights. You've got good... when you're looking at lineups, one way to sort of judge them or assess them is their reach, meaning if you've got heroes that have long range, like an Earthshaker with a Fissure, like a Furion with the global teleport, like a Spectre with his ability to just port onto any hero, Mirana with her arrow, these heroes have really long reach, meaning they can get at you from quite far away. Enigma's got a lot of heroes with good reach on his team. Between the Mirana and the Furion, even the Sand King, pretty good reach with that Burrow Strike. And he'll have a Blink Dagger relatively soon. Man, yeah, interesting place to TP out, but he's going to be just fine. So if you've got heroes with long reach...
The Shadow Shaman was actually coming up from behind there.
You don't necessarily need to rush for something that gives you mobility yourself. You can go for that pushing, kind of tanking item. Meanwhile, I did catch Windrunner going down on the bottom lane. She's having a really rough game. Funzy does have 42 creeps. Let's talk a little bit about the Broodmother's farm, because that is the one benefit to what's been going on for Western Wolves. Broodmother's been left completely alone. Up to 86 creeps in 12 minutes. That is some fantastic farm. I want to say that's 7 creeps per minute.
Broodmother's sitting on
over
3k gold.
Lich ultimate dropped middle. Dragon Knight, the black hole dropped for just the Dragon Knight, but Crystal Maiden makes it worthwhile by running into it. Crystal Maiden going to go down. Arrow hits on the Windrunner. Windrunner almost sure to fall here as well. Sprout gets applied. That's a huge team fight for DD.
Current score is 7-0. I mean, DD is really pushing their advantage here. Windrunner ported in. Podon was waiting with her arrow. DK went down with the black hole. Couldn't really get anything going. Just a lot of bad things happening for the Dire.
One of the downsides to the Broodmother as a pick is she really can't do much outside of her starting lane, especially until the mid to late game. Main reason for that is she's got all her webs up there, and in order to chase effectively as well as survive if things get hairy, she really needs the webs. And you can only cast one every 30 seconds, so you know, in order to set up your webs in another lane, it takes some time. So she's kind of stuck up here. She can't do too much by rotating. Meanwhile, Smoke Gank going on to Phoenix. Phoenix still looking for that level 6. He really just needs one creep for it. DD, perhaps sensing that, wants to deny him. The arrow gonna miss. Just barely. Link looking for that kill. Not going to get it. But
I mean, one of the problems with their trade early with the Broodmother was that Broodmother really is expected to get the tower in her lane, but when they did a trade like that, now Broodmother's just kind of left to farm, and she can't really get him a second tower for free kind of thing.
Phoenix still with no level 6. I have no idea why they're forcing this fight right now. He just needs like one creep. Just get the EXP already, man.
He almost died to the Idoloons. I think it was creeps.
Mirana ultimate is popped just to get her teammates out of there. Look at all these sentry wards in the bottom lane. They really wanted to try and shut down that Sand King, but he left the lane. You know, unlike the Broodmother, the sentry ward's pretty good against Broodmother because you know she's going to be in that lane for most of the game. Not so good against the Sand King. He can freely leave it, especially once both Tier 1 and Tier 2 towers are down. They're still good, you know, you still want those wards. And Sand King has his Blink Dagger, that's a big pickup. Yeah, so let's actually check how the hero's items are progressing right now. Furion looks like he's working towards a 4-staff. I doubt we're going to see a Dagon. It'd be pretty late for that. And, you know, it wouldn't be a bad pickup versus this Crystal Maiden. That's like a free kill every time your ultimate and Dagon are up. Enigma with the mechanism, Sankey with the Blink Dagger. That's Lich with some pretty decent items considering he's been playing hardcore support. And then if you look at the Dire, really nothing. No item progression at all. Just phase boots on the Windrunner. Power Treads on the Dragon Knight, and then scratch that, Broodmother has a completed BKB.
Yeah, he did just buy the full BKB. A good strategy is actually not to buy each piece of your item as you go, but buy the full thing unless you're really having problems and you need like a certain item to give you the stats to survive or whatever. Because not only can you save up for like a buyback or whatever, but You kind of have the element of surprise. But also Sand King going down.
Yeah, did actually catch that one because he wandered onto my screen. So, Phoenix finally hitting level 6 with that gang. Actually hitting level 7, so... Meanwhile, DK in a little trouble. He doesn't have a Quelling Blade. I'm really surprised that he doesn't Versable. The Furion, you definitely won one. The TP gonna get him out. No, the Prophet ultimate secure the kill.
Yeah, that was a nice effort by DK, but
Just a little note to any of the newer players there who maybe aren't so experienced with Prophet. His ultimate does more damage if you cast it, if it bounces to you later on. So, in that case, we saw Miguel cast it in another lane, and then it bounced back to DK. If he had just cast it directly on DK, it might not have been enough to get the kill.
It's actually quite a devastating amount of damage if you get enough bounces on it. Like, when you're playing support or something, especially if you're just kind of roaming around and Furion's ult to the other side of the map, and it can really take off like a half, 3/4 of your HP suddenly.
The Radiant's being incredibly aggressive here. I don't know if I like this choice with 4 missing. The Enigma ult is down. Oh, actually it's up again. Excuse me, what am I talking about? But the Furion ult's down. I think it's time for
Rasta wards went down bottom, and the tower's in deny range, unfortunately. I don't think they're going to get this. No.
Radiant's top tower has been denied.
Where did they go down? Oh, top tower.
Yeah. Top of the Radiant side. Rasta went down there, dropped his wards, teleported bottom, and Brood was also down there.
DK
but she had to back off.
getting killed off right outside of his own base, not even safe at home. Windrunner probably going to drop here as well. Just one more auto attack will do the trick. She's going to drop. Crystal Maiden with no boots comes in. What can she really do?
In deep. I'm not too
Mad
sure
is
what they're...
tired of his team feeding, but he doesn't. He doesn't have the web. He pops the 10-second BKB and he can't even chase. That is a huge blunder by fucking Mad.
They need to get some tangos or a Quelling Blade up on their melee. They have a DK and a Broodmother, and both of them are just completely irrelevant when they're put in those trees.
So after a failed counter gank bottom that involved Broodmother blowing her best BKB charge, DD's going to get a free tower top. And the DK dies as well as the Windrunner, so it's really looking bleak for Western Wolves.
Oh, someone did mention Broodmother can lay down a web to destroy those trees, because obviously her web does actually destroy every trees in the area, but I'm guessing it was on cooldown.
Yeah, you can't really count on that 30-second skill. I mean, I wouldn't necessarily say you need a Quelling Blade on Broodmother, but certainly on the DK. Frankly, it's worth it just to survive those ganks. If it helps you once during the game, it's worth it. It's paid for itself.
I do think Broodmother could just hang on to some tangos or something, though, just in case. As we saw there, I mean, that was a 10-second BKB charge that was just absolutely wasted because he got stuck in trees and he didn't have his web up. Because the web's really helpful for chasing when you just drop it down as you're running after someone in a team fight if you do happen to be there. So, I mean, if you drop your web to chase and Furion just turns around and trees you, it really puts you in a bad situation as a melee carry or a melee hero like Broodmother.
Mania going in on the Broodmother. Is he going to pop the ultimate? He's not. Courier coming in to deliver something on top of Broodmother.
He blinked daggered out there. It was good. Windrunner and they had a lot of people top, but no one could quite make it there in time to stop his blink.
Yeah, I'm not sure why the Broodmother didn't even attempt to go for that Courier. That was really dangerous by Mania. That Courier, pretty much a free tower kill for the team. 150 gold to every player. Almost
it is in the tournament edition, but I do believe, even so, the Courier changes are in the tournament edition right now.
Dragon Knight going down bottom again. This guy's
Furion threw out the ult again. Just DK is 0-4, Windrunner's 0-5.
Might die to Mania here. The dust comes out, but the counter gank is on. Are we going to see any shackles? Shadow Shaman trying to get in range. Mania's going to have a burrow strike in just a second. He burrow strikes out.
Really tanky.
No TP scroll.
Broodmother has the webs. Like I was saying before, they do destroy the trees.
Meanwhile, while I'm watching this, a huge aggressive dive / push on the bottom lane. I think this Rax is going down. Broodmother needs to get back here.
This is definitely the power of an early game push lineup. Getting Enigma and Furion on this team together was really devastating.
And then the supports they got were not half bad either.
Yeah, I mean, Sand King and Lich are obviously two very good... Well, Sand King wasn't really playing support in this game. The only person really playing support, I guess you could say, was Lich. Because Sand King had a solo lane, and Furion was being babysat. Podon was solo, and Enigma had his jungle. So they're playing like supportive roles, but they're not really like CM and Rasta, who are really just like standing around not getting experience or money or anything, which can put them in a really tough situation versus early push teams like this.
Vlad disconnects from this game. Not sure if he's coming back or if he just realizes it is over, but it's not looking good. Yeah, the Dire do have the better late game carries, but I mean the goal difference is already 15,000. A little under 15,000. That is not where you want to be. I mean, look at this DK. He's got treads and a cloak, and that's pretty much it for his
DK
items.
is so far behind at this point. It would take some extreme turtling to actually come back. I mean, the score is 12-1. It's really looking bad for them. They almost got that kill on Sand King top, unfortunately. Rasta did not have any more dust. He'd used one, and Sand King, I guess, managed to wait it out.
Yeah, I think that was just a case of Western Wolves not really paying attention to the map. I mean, it's always important to keep an eye on the creep equilibrium. Are they pushing aggressively on the your side? Sanky with a huge blink ultimate.
That's going to be a Broodmother down.
Got a gem now.
Oh, and the rest of it gets... Yeah, that's pretty much the end right there, I think.
This will be a Roshan. I don't know if they have time, or a second tier tower. I don't think they have time to push.
Furion can go mid and do some work there, or top. Both those lanes are pushing. They can also go in bottom for the range racks, but I don't think they care about that very much.
Western Wolves actually going to GG out already, so I don't know if we've seen many earlier GGs. That was quite a one-sided game. I was hoping for a little bit more of an exciting one. I wanted to see a Roshan and finally call out when he's going to respawn at the correct time, but no such luck for me, unfortunately.
This is definitely really well played by dd, though.
Just waiting for Shadow Shaman to disconnect, but this game is over, folks. You can book it now. So this was dd versus Western Wolves for the defense. I was joined by Radical, and I'll let you guys see the very end of the game here. If you enjoyed this cast, please follow me on Twitter, as I do announce when I'm streaming and casting on there, and I occasionally will be using Own3D as well. For some tournaments, I'm going to have to switch to it after this game for the Dota 2 Europe Challenge, which will be coming up shortly, for the grand finals of that. So, easiest way to keep track of all the streaming is to follow me on both. Radical, any closing thoughts, last words?
Well, I was looking at their items really quickly before, and Furion did decide to go for the Necronomicon. He was feeling pretty confident about their pushing power, I guess. They really did want to end this early, because, the enemy team did have the better carries. Podom had finished her, man. SK had a gem for Brood. They were definitely, they had everything they needed here to just completely, just go at the enemy team.
And not only is that Necronomicon great, just in general as a pushing item, it's versus a Broodmother, so good luck escaping when that one's up.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe they could have gotten a Medallion to deal with DK a bit more, but he was already so shut down. I don't think he even needed the negative armor. I can't really, they've got, perfect item decisions. Perfect push, a perfect push lineup. Been played extremely well.
Dire's Ancient is under attack.
So we will see the throne die here shortly in a glorious
Rasta
shower of
is just
stuff.
just pushing top, waiting for the game to end. I guess
trolling his team a little bit here.
I'm not sure if they have to actually. They can't just. They have to actually wait for the throne to end as per tournament rules. It certainly depends on the tournament. So Rasta might have stayed behind to make it official.
It certainly is official now. There's a gaping lava pit where the throne used to be. So dd over Western Wolves for the defense. Thanks for joining me, Radical.